So, so we're here to talk about the 4-H LEGO Robotics Challenge. This challenge was created 8 years ago by the G-Force FTC team. And it was created because we do a lot of traveling. We'd meet coaches and we'd meet 4-H leaders, and they'd say, gee, we really want to do robotics, but it's a bit too much of a challenge, or it's a little bit daunting to jump into FLL. So we created the 4-H LEGO Challenge as a bridge between the two, so that you could go from not knowing anything to doing the 4-H Challenge, and then if you really like it, you can move on to LEGO League or something like that. So that's the reasoning behind it. It's really divided into three main sections of the challenge. The first section is the actual fun LEGO building part, and that's where the kids get to build a robot, program it, and compete on a playing field to get points and sort of show their prowess in that respect. All right, so so that's the first section. The first section is the building the robot LEGO part. The second section is the technical presentation. And the technical presentation is all about giving the kids the opportunity to talk, present to a group of judges, and tell them about their engineering process. Tell them about how they built their robot, how they decided to solve the problems, what challenges they came up against, how this relates to real life, things like that. So that's the technical presentation component. And the third component is the service project. And the service project is where the kids get to take the theme, think about it a little bit more deeply, and then go out into the community and find a way that they can relate that theme to some service they can provide to the community. This could either be finding a problem that they might want to solve. It could be learning about some new technology and trying to educate their community about this technology. But it's a matter of getting out there and interacting with the community. It gets them into public speaking. It gets them into finding out more about what's going on. So those three things all come together. And the way to find out how to create a 4-H LEGO Challenge team and how to do the competition is all covered in the game manual. And that's what we want to have a quick chat about tonight. So I'm going to switch back to my screen over here. And I'm going to jump to the one place we want everyone to know, and that is the Maryland Extension site where the game is explained. The way I always get to this page is I just go straight into Google and search for Maryland 4-H Robotics, and this is what always comes up. If I'm going to scroll down here, and there's actually two competitions to do with Maryland, getting all sorts of noises, two competitions to do with the LEGO Robotic Challenge. One is the LEGO Robotics Challenge, which is the first one that's mentioned here, the LEGO Challenge. And the second one is the Robotics Engineering Challenge, which is a higher level challenge. And with any luck, you'll get some more videos about that later on. But what I want to show you is if you scroll down to this section of the screen, it's all working over there, good. There's really two links. The first link is to the manual. And the second link is to a playlist of videos that show you how to construct the elements for the field. So I just want to see those there. And I'm going to jump over to the manual. And I'm not going to go through this manual because we don't have enough time and it's kind of detailed and boring, but it's got all the specific details that you need to understand the game. And so I just want to show you those sections so you know where to look. I'm going to scroll down here, scroll down, scroll down. The first section, teams and coaches, is telling you how to form your team. What are the basic elements you need? How many kids, how many coaches? And that's pretty straightforward. So then we move on to the game, and the game section is explaining what kind of pieces you need to play the game. It talks about what LEGO parts you will use. It tells you how to build the field, and you see the field on the ground. The field is a 4 foot by 4 foot platform. We have a mat that gives you the layout of the field, and this element talks about that. You can either build or buy these components, or I think there's opportunities to beg, borrow, and steal them from various 4-H offices. So that talks about the playing field there. Next section of the robot talks about how you build the robot, what's allowed to do with the robot. It talks about the fact that this is a LEGO game. It's really all about LEGO, so you can only use LEGO components. Something really cool this year is that one of the new hardware components is the Spike Prime kit, which is a very colorful robotic building kit from LEGO that's just come out. It's actually somewhat cheaper than the classic Mindstorm NXT kit or EV3 kit, and it's got some cool programming elements. So that's mentioned in here. It also talks about what sensors and stuff like that you can use. Then we move on to how big your robot's allowed to be. And then we move on to how you interact with the robot during the game. So these are all things that once you start building and start thinking about testing out your missions and stuff, you want to go back to this section to make sure that you're not violating any rules. Moving along. So then the next section is talking about the game rules. We're getting into specifics here. How the game is played, how many rounds you have, what the kids can do, what the kids can't do, stuff like that. So it's general operating rules. But the main section of the manual is the missions. And the mission section describes what the robot has to do on the playing field. And I'm not going to go into any of this here because once I'm done, I'm going to hand it over to Derek, and Derek's going to work through those missions on the field, and so you can get a look at them and see what they have to do. But the manual is divided into sections, and each section here talks about a mission. So this is the aquaculture mission, stocking the pond, and it explains where things start out, where things have to end up, how you get the points. And then there's each successive section here talks about how things get set up and how you play the game. Moving on, I'm going to skip over touch penalties. So up to now, the manual's been really talking about the robot part of the challenge. So then we move on to the other two phases of the game. First of those other phases is the technical presentation. And if you remember, I said the technical presentation is about where the kids get to present to judges and talk about how they went about building their robot. So what it is typically is a 10-minute session. The kids come in, they bring their robot, they bring their accessories, they can run their robots on a field, and the judges will say, oh, well, how did you do that? And how come that's like that? And what challenges do you have to solve and stuff like that? So that's a really good opportunity for kids to start learning a little bit more technical language, so they don't call something the thingamajig. They call it the arm lifter or the gear mechanism, and they can really show off what they've learned. So that's pretty cool. Part of that is one of the other things you bring to the technical presentation is the team notebook. And the notebook is, it's not so much a diary or a project book like you might normally have in 4-H. It's really a technical, it's a little bit more technical. It's meant to show what you've done for each meeting, what ideas you had, what things you were going to try. And it's a record of how you went through the process of designing your robot, how you tested it, you know, what was successful, how you developed your strategy, stuff like that. So the team notebook is actually a prelude to perhaps an engineering notebook, which you might do if you join an FTC team or if you do the 4-H engineering challenge. So the notebook, so new teams don't put a lot in their notebook, but as you go move along and you want to advance further, putting more detail into the engineering, the team notebook's a big thing. So that's those two elements. And then the final element is the service project. And this is where it explains a little bit about what the project is about that year. And there's two elements to this. There's a project display, which is the classic trifold. And that's, the kids can put photos of their outreach or photos of their project and stuff like that. And then there's the project presentation. And this is a public presentation. So this isn't so much for judges. This is actually something they'll do potentially, you know, for whatever crowd is there or a small audience. And they'll present their service project. They'll show their pictures. They'll show any results they had. And then there actually can be asked questions by the judges or sometimes by the audience. And that's a great opportunity to see, you know, how the kids have really embraced their particular challenge. A couple of extra things here in the manual. There's a point summary. So this is the first thing that I always print out when I when I look at these things is where are the points? Because part of the strategy is developing missions that can get the most points, either easiest or quickest, something like that. And the final thing in here is the scoring rubric. And this is what's used by the judges for the technical presentation. Judges will go through this and decide whether, you know, there's different topics I can hear, like, for example, evidence of structural integrity. So the judges will decide whether it was a flimsy robot that fell apart, whether it was strong, or whether it was, you know, robust, things like that. So it's always good to look through this rubric to see, you know, what sort of topics the kids should talk about. All right, so that was a speed round there, but I got my time just where I wanted it to be. All right, so the bottom line here is you want to download that manual as soon as you can, and print out a couple of copies and read through it and really get a feel for it. So now that we've done that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch back my video. So now we're actually zoomed in on the field, and so I'm going to hand it over to Derek. Why don't you just introduce yourself, Derek?
So my name is Derek. I'm a member of the GeForce Robotics team. I'll be starting my 3rd year next year of this FTC team, and today I'm here to describe all the missions of the game. So missions are the definition of what the robot must do to gain points. Missions may be performed individually or grouped together within a single program. Missions may have several different point values depending on the degree to which the mission is completed. So we'll jump right into this, starting with the first mission, aquaculture, stocking the pond. So this piece right here is called the fish. Now, this mission can earn 20 points if this fish is delivered all the way over to this red circle with the 4-H logo inside. So 20 points can be earned if the fish is completely inside the red circle. If the fish is sticking out of the circle anywhere, no points will be awarded. So the fish has to be completely inside. Our next mission is automation, feeding the cows. So the robot must deliver these hay bales, these little pieces right here on these orange squares. The bales must be breaking the plane of the small black circle in the corner of the field. These are worth 5 points per bale, and they can be worth a total of 20 points. So after we feed the cows, we now have to milk the cows. So the robot must collect the milk from the cow section and deliver it back to the base, which is worth 25 points. So next up, our 4th mission is urban farming, to build a rooftop garden. The robot must transfer the garden from base to the urban center, on the other side right here, and place it on top of the building to receive 35 points. Now the garden must be completely supported by the building, so it cannot be touching the floor anywhere, it has to be completely supported. Our next mission is automation water valve. So the robot must turn the water valve at least 90 degrees in either direction to be activated. So this little orange piece here must be turned at least 90 degrees in either direction to get the full points. And that is worth 40 points for completing that mission. And while we're over here in the health zone, the next mission is robotic weeding. So these little pieces inside of here are called the weeds. Now, to knock over the tallest plant right here is worth 30 points. Points will only be awarded if only the tallest plant is knocked over. If another one is knocked over, in addition to that one, no points will be awarded. So only the tallest weed. Our next mission is precision agriculture, remote sensing. So the robot must locate the field with deficient nutrients, which is the one here with the black piece in there. The deficient nutrient field has a black insert, and there are 6 pieces of fertilizer, which are these red pieces right over here. If a team plans to place the fertilizer, they must notify the referee and run this as their first mission. Once the teams have started their program and are ready to run the mission, the referee will randomize the field with the black insert by rolling a dice. So this black insert could be in either one of these 3 spots.
Can I jump in here?
Yes.
So this mission is the one where it's really necessary to use a sensor. So the idea is that the program, the robot will use a sensor to determine which of the 3 spaces is low in nutrients, which will have the black in it. And then it will naturally attempt to put the fertilizer in that cell. Because we want to make it so that the program has to determine it and not just select the correct program, the way this will be done is that, like Derek said, this will be have to be the first mission. So if someone is going to do this mission and want to try and get the sense the lack of nutrient, they need to tell the referee before the match starts that they're going to do that as their first mission. Then the referee will say, okay, are you ready to go? And once they're ready to go, the referee will roll a die, put the black in the correct cell, and then start the match. So the robot will have to then sense it. They get the most points, of course, for getting the nutrients in the cell.
All right, so after the field is randomized, the team cannot push any buttons on the robot except the start button when the game begins. So the team will receive 15 points for each fertilizer placed in the nutrient deficient field during their first mission. And teams will receive 7 points for each fertilizer placed in any field during the remainder of the game. Each fertilizer in the base over here at the end of the game is worth 5 points. So this can be the high scoring mission. If you get all 6 in the nutrient deficient zone, they can be up to 90 points. So next is another automation mission, egg collection. So the robot must collect the eggs from the 4 green circles on the field and deliver them to the base, right over here. If the eggs are moved off the circles and are not in the base, the team will lose 2 points per egg. Each egg transferred all the way to the base is worth 5 points. And our last mission, our 9th mission, is urban farming, the high tunnel. So this starts in the head zone up here. And as long as this high tunnel breaks the plane of this black line in any form, the team will be awarded 20 points. And I believe that is all the missions.
Woohoo. Thank you, Derek, for going over those missions. And
Is there any questions? Hi, folks. This is Willie. Good to have everybody on tonight. One of the couple things I was wanted to mention while I was listening to Phil and Derek here is that you don't have to do the missions in the order that Derek described them in. They can be done in any order. And part of your technical presentation can be about the strategy you use for picking up the missions. So for example, if your robot is going to feed the cows, you might want to get the milk first, because that way you don't end up messing the location of that up. Just one example of what that might mean to think strategically about these missions.
Yes, thank you, Willie. I noticed in the rules today that wasn't spelled out, so I actually added that to the latest update on the rules. So that was good.
all right, so next week we're going to plan to do this each Wednesday, and each week it's a little different topic. And we're got all kinds of topics from engineering notebook to the technical presentation to Mr. Phil's going to be doing some. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the new Spike. Mr. Phil got one of those and has been playing with those, so he's going to have a session on that new LEGO Spike. Spike is just like the NXT and EV3s. It's the newest of the LEGO brains and bricks. So he'll be having a session on that. And again, we're going to try to do them every Wednesday evening, 7:30. So we hope you guys can join us. If you can on a Wednesday evening, you can come back and check out the channel and check out the recording. So.
If we have a minute, Willie, did you have anything? Can you give us any information about new teams, about mats and things like that? Is there what will they need to do if they want to get a mat?
Yeah, the best thing if you are in need of a mat for one reason or another, being new or something's happened to your current mat, please send me an email. Most of you get quite a few emails from me, or the emails that are going to the recording tonight are fine. And we'll see what we can do. I think we still have some. I think they're around $40 to purchase the mats from that standpoint. And we might also mention that in the game manual, it tells you that if you're making these models that Derek showed you, that's made from a certain LEGO kit. So you need that LEGO Mindstorm accessory kit. And there's a certain number on that, and that will give you all the parts, because we make all the models out of that kit every year. So once you purchase that for future years, you'll have that to use, because we'll go back and continue to use that and continue to use the same mat. So it's not like LEGO League where the mats change on a yearly basis. And the board you can construct yourself. There should be enough instructions in the game manual about what the 2x4s and size is for the actual borders and base of the mat of the field.
Okay, so Mr. Phil, we do have a couple questions now. So first question, will there be offerings for REC? So will there be some videos? Will there be some videos and trainings for the REC program?
Okay, so I'll give the first answer to that. And we haven't necessarily planned for anything because we have a full suite of LEGO ones. So we may not have time for that. But I don't know whether Mark was planning to do something like that. Perhaps
So, can you hear me?
yeah, go ahead.
So the plan is for that to happen, though we are still working out the times, dates, the exact topics, and when. As Phil said, they have had quite a few topics that they have already planned to present, and so they get first crack at it because they are ahead of the game. And so the plan is eventually yes, but stay tuned.
While you're doing that, I have a quick answer. Bill and Denise said, can you tell us the part number for that kit? I assume they mean an expansion kit. And it's in the manual, but I'll just read it out to you if you want to take it down. It is 608206-4 is the part number. That's the LEGO part number. 608206-4. It's called the LEGO Education Mindstorm EV3 Expansion Kit.
Mr. Phil, did we post a list anywhere of the upcoming workshops? And
I do not believe we did, because this was a test. We wanted to see how well this one worked.
yeah, so I think that's something we'll want to do. There was a question that came in on that, so that was a good question. So we can maybe you can get that posted on the Mark. Maybe you could get that posted on our the link page there, the dates and the times. Like I said, we're going to do it each Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure next week is the isn't it the engineering notebook, Phil? With
Yes,
the Lewis?
indeed.
Yeah, so that's our plan. So
Team notebook.
all right.
Okay.
A couple other little quick comments here about the game manual. For the building instructions, and I know a lot of your experience and know that, but the building instructions for the models, there are videos on the 4-H Robotics website that Phil showed you earlier, the YouTube. And you may have mentioned that, Phil. If I did, I apologize for repeating that.
I'll go back to it.
One of the things too we had hoped to do this year was to create a Google Drive document that would be like a frequently asked questions, or asked questions that have been asked and answered, so that everybody had access to that. So rather than asking a question about the 4-H Lego contest to me and me giving somebody specifically an answer, which we would do, but we would also post that question and that answer on that Google Doc. And we need to get that linked up to that 4-H Robotics page as well. So if you go away from this tonight, go ahead, Mark.
I believe it's there. It was when I checked it about a month ago, but it was up.
Okay, I was just looking and I didn't see it there too, because I thought the same thing. So
facts list. Click on this link to access the facts list above.
Okay. No.
We need, if we need to emphasize that more to make it easier to see, I will definitely say we can do that.
Okay, yeah, well, thanks, Mark. I'm glad you pointed that out. If you're on the 4-H Robotics page and you see the black box that has the light bulb in the cloud, right above that it says FAQ list, and that's taking you to that Google questions. And there was a couple questions asked early on that we answered. So there's a couple things there you can check out. But like I say, if you have a question in between these sessions that's about the game, that could be about the service project, anything, you can send that to us and we will answer it and post the answer there. So that's something that teams might want to go back and look at frequently.
Okay, and Ari shared with us, if you go to legoeducation.com and just search Mindstorm EV3 Expansion Kit. It's pretty easy to find. I think it's the only expansion kit out there.
No, I think there are more than one expansion kit. So make sure you get the right number. There are multiple ones of them.
Is the correct number listed in the manual?
I think that's correct.
Yep.
We think that's
well,
correct.
there's a number listed.
They're pretty much the same, but there are some specialty pieces that differ between them. So I'm pretty sure we have the right one listed.
Great. All right. And Ralph, thanks for letting us know you're from Frederick. You guys always have some great teams. So looking forward to having you guys back again this year. And Kimberly, I didn't get your county yet, so I'm going to look for you here real quick and unmute you so you can introduce yourself here if you're still here with us. Nope, I lost her. And Kimmy, I'm going to unmute you there real quick. So you're unmuted, Kimmy. You're from Baltimore County, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what teams are you guys planning on having this year or working with or just getting started?
We're just getting started. We're hoping to have enough people to field a LEGO team, and we'll have some engineering teams as well.
Wonderful. All right. And if we can help you out along the way, don't hesitate to, like I said, reach out to the chat, the FAQs, and if the answer is not there, we'll be glad to help you. So, all right. So, Mr. Phil, I'd say.
One last thing, I have a question from Denise that says she's done this, she's competed in previous years. Does that mean we already have the parts of this expansion kit? Yes, you do. So if you get all your pieces together from last time, you should be able to build the new game pieces from that same kit.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I got.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Hopefully we'll talk to some of you next week then. Have a great evening. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.